We're seeing disasters happen more and more often, and they're getting way more destructive. So that leads to a really important question. Could our most powerful new technology, artificial intelligence, actually become our most important new first responder?
To really get the stakes here, let's just start with a number: $145 billion. That's what experts think the global insured loss from natural disasters will be in 2025 alone. And what's truly staggering is that this number is jumping up by 5 to 7% every single year.
But this isn't just about the money. We're also seeing the highest number of violent conflicts since the Second World War. And at the same time, climate disasters are just hitting harder and more often. Our ability as a global community to handle all of this is being stretched to the absolute limit.
So that brings us to the big question, right? We hear about AI everywhere, in our phones, in our cars, but can it really make a difference when things get truly chaotic and lives are actually on the line? Could this be the tool we need to navigate this increasingly turbulent world?
Okay, so the first big way AI is changing things, and this is maybe the most important, is that it's completely flipping the script. For decades, our model has been to wait for a crisis to happen, and then we react. AI lets us, for the first time really, get ahead of the curve. It shifts the whole game from reaction to prediction. What we're really talking about here is a huge shift from just responding to a crisis to actively reducing the risk beforehand. I mean, the best way to handle a disaster is to stop it from being a disaster in the first place, right? And that's exactly where AI's ability to see what's coming becomes such a game changer.
Now, when we say AI, you got to remember it's not just one single thing. It's more like a whole toolkit. You've got predictive analytics that can forecast how a wildfire might spread. You have generative AI that can create super realistic training scenarios for first responders. Then there's computer vision to analyze drone footage, and even robotics for search and rescue. Each one of these tools has a really specific and really powerful role to play.
And look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi stuff. This is happening right now. NASA is already using AI to scan satellite data and predict where a wildfire is most likely to spark. In Sri Lanka, the UN is using a tool to monitor online hate speech, trying to pinpoint tension so they can prevent violence before it breaks out. I mean, think about that. This is AI as a peacekeeper, as a fire warden, as a storm chaser. And this whole preparation idea gets taken to a whole other level with something called digital twins. So just imagine a perfect virtual copy of a city. Every single building, every road, every power line. With this model, planners can just unleash a simulated hurricane or an earthquake. The AI then shows them exactly what's going to break, which lets them find and fix those weak spots in the real world before it's too late. It's incredible stuff.
But even with the best planning in the world, disasters are still going to happen. So what about when we're in the middle of it? What's AI's role during a crisis? Well, it becomes this kind of essential partner, a co-pilot right there in the command center, helping the humans make sense of all the chaos.
When it comes to assessing damage, the difference is it's night and day. The old way meant sending people into really dangerous, unstable areas, and that whole process could take days, even weeks. Now, AI algorithms can zip through data from satellites, drones, even social media posts, and create a really detailed damage map in just a matter of hours. Let me give you a perfect real-world example of this. After that devastating Herat earthquake in Afghanistan, the UNDP rolled out a tool called Rapida. It used AI to just instantly analyze satellite images. It figured out which houses were destroyed and could even estimate the amount of debris in these remote villages that responders couldn't even get to yet. I mean, that information is absolute gold for planning your rescue and recovery. But okay, having a map of the damage is really just the first step. The real logistical nightmare in any disaster is trying to match thousands of specific needs on the ground with the right experts and the right resources from all over the world. And this is where a tool like EVA.ai comes in. It's basically, think of it like a super smart, high-stakes matchmaking service for disaster response. The UN Development Program has this list of over 25,000 experts, everyone from water engineers to trauma surgeons. EVA.ai uses AI to find the perfect person for the job in just seconds. So here's how it works, and it's incredibly fast. A call comes in from the field for a specific need. The AI instantly scans all 25,000 plus profiles, juggling dozens of factors like their specific skills, the languages they speak, their past experience, and if they're even available right now. Then, boom, it identifies the best candidates, checks if they can go, and helps get them on their way faster than we ever thought was possible. So,
The immediate crisis passes. The news crews pack up and go home, but that's when the really hard work begins. And this brings us to that final phase, how AI can help communities not just rebuild, but actually rebuild smarter than before. Because the recovery phase is this massive, super complex job. It's not just about putting bricks back together, right? It's about taking limited resources and figuring out how to use them in a way that's fair, that's effective, and that makes the community stronger for the next time. And to do that, you need an incredible amount of data and insight. AI gives us that insight in some pretty amazing ways. After recent hurricanes, an organization used a Google AI tool that compared storm damage data with poverty data. Why? To send cash aid directly to the families who were hit the hardest and needed it the most. It can analyze infrastructure damage to help officials decide, okay, which bridge do we fix first to reconnect this town? Or which power station gets the hospital back online? It can even track aid payments to flag weird activity, making sure more of the money actually gets to the people it was meant for. But not all damage is something you can see on a satellite photo. Take a look at this number, 74%. In the aftermath of some disasters, that can be the rate of post-traumatic stress disorder among survivors. The psychological wounds, they're often the deepest. And believe it or not, this is another place where AI is starting to help. By looking at things like health data and even social media sentiment, it can help organizations spot communities or individuals who are at a high risk for psychological trauma. That allows them to send in mental health support proactively, getting it to where it's needed most. So this all sounds amazing, right? Almost too good to be true. And that's why we have to talk about the elephant in the room, or, maybe the ghost in the machine. This technology is incredibly powerful, but it comes with some really profound questions that we just cannot ignore. These are the hurdles we absolutely have to clear. For example, what about algorithmic bias? If an AI is trained on old data, it might learn to send more aid to wealthy neighborhoods just because the property damage is worth more, completely overlooking poorer communities. And how do we protect the private data of people when they're at their most vulnerable? And what happens when an AI makes a mistake? Who's responsible? It all boils down to this thing called the alignment problem, the huge challenge of making sure a machine's cold logic is truly aligned with our complex human values. And this quote from the RAND Corporation, man, it just nails it. The technology is just a tool. It doesn't get rid of the ethical problems. It just forces us to deal with them earlier. We, the humans, have to decide what values, like fairness or equity or speed, we're going to program into these systems from the very start. So it all comes back to that co-pilot idea we talked about. AI can process data faster than any human, it can spot patterns we would never see, and it can offer incredible advice. But it doesn't have empathy. It doesn't have wisdom or a moral compass. A human being has to always be in the pilot seat, making those final, critical, value-based calls. And that really leaves us with the biggest question of all, doesn't it? The technology can give us the how to be faster, how to be more efficient, how to see what's coming. But it can't give us the why. As we build these powerful new first responders, the real challenge isn't going to be the tech. It's going to be for us, as a society, to agree on the values we want them to serve.